Punctured it. Her eyes just locked, and I just started crying. Like tears.
First of all, she's time for her. Before you know it, infection goes in.
Right, because that protects the child, the infants.
That's even more respectful.
Oh, it gets this worse?
Oh yeah, than being asked, is it normal birth?
Oh boy. My name is Ibrahim, and I'm having conversations with other dads about what it means to be a dad in our little experience, the journey so far, the things that we've had to deal with and learn on the journey so far. We've had conversations about trying to conceive, we've had conversations about miscarriages, and we've had a conversation about the actual the duration, gestation, the pregnancy. Yes, that's what I was looking for. So today, we're going to be talking about delivery. But before that, I'd just like to say that one of the most annoying things that people say a lot of the time when you're about to go, into the delivery room, or when people are aware that it's almost that time, is they walk up to your spouse and look around and say, "You will give birth like the Hebrew women." I'm sorry. I wasn't there. You weren't there. None of us was there when the Hebrew women were giving birth. So please, can we just not do that? Because it now gives the impression that if you do not have a vaginal birth as a woman, you haven't really done the job. You haven't done the thing that you're supposed to do as a woman, and it's really unfair. And I've heard conversations where people say, "I hope you did not do C-section," and people are like, "Bruh. What matters is..."
That's even more respectful.
Oh, it gets this worse?
Oh yeah, than being asked, is it normal birth?
Oh boy. Yes, I think I've heard someone ask that before.
When they ask you, your openness is respectful. When they want to really dig in, they go, is it normal birth? Now the question in my head is, which one is
abnormal? All right, so with me again today, we have Taiwo, we have Collins, we have Bamidele, and we have Ola. And we are doing what we've enjoyed doing lately, which is just having conversations, sharing our experiences with each other, learning from it, and hopefully, we are getting our watchers, our viewers, to learn a few things as well. So yes, as I said earlier, delivery, the day. I don't know about you guys. For me, it was a mixture of, on the day, it was a mixture of excitement and trepidation, and people say that, oh man, this is the day that they've been waiting for. But was it really? Did it feel that way? Like, oh, I'm so excited, it's the day I was waiting for?
Well, for me, I would say, yeah, it was a mix of excitement and, of course, fear, because this would be something new, something new, you haven't expressed it before.
Yeah.
So I am of the opinion that you cannot be too prepared. For that, because.
Did you forget anything?
Yes, definitely. I think it's even a starter pack.
Yeah, like apparently you must forget something.
I had packed her things in the car for 2 weeks ahead of time. So almost a month ahead of time. My parents are even coming to visit one. They say, what are those things packed in the car? You need to remove those things before someone will bubble your car and think that there's money there. Now, for most people, they'll say, oh, my water broke. My wife's water didn't break. In fact,
so you see,
punctured in the hospital actually, it came out and they punctured it.
And then...
Yeah, and then baby came out. But
so film don't deceive us.
Yeah, TV and film should do better, try to push some other narrative that balances the equation.
Yeah.
Because most people think, oh, if your water doesn't break, because my wife kept asking, your water has not broken. In fact, she even had water break scare. I don't know if there's anything like that. Like, babe, I'm at the salon and it's like my water broke. And I'm like, do you know where you are? Do you know where I am? Are you sure it's the water that broke? Hey, because I'm seeing something there. I had to speak with the guy who was making it. I said, please, could you just help my wife, assist her in any way? So the guy was like, oh, God, calm down, don't worry. She's in safe hands. We have women here that can help her. But at the end of the day, the baby was out with the water in the sack. And then the doctor had to puncture. So there needs to be a balancing of the narrative, because not everybody's water breaks. And that day, no matter how well you want to prepare, just allow yourself some error margins. You will forget something.
But the experience for me was that we had 3 different EDDs.
Sorry, what? How?
Yeah, we had 3 different EDDs. The first scan came with a date, the second one came with another date, the third one came with another date.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
No.
So it's funny because my sister-in-law, who is a nurse midwife, so when we told her about these 3 differences, she was like, "Nah, it's nothing. Don't worry. Don't follow the first one.
Okay.
Let's see what happens with the second date, and then the third one. Then the first date came, second date, third date, and I was like, oh, okay, what is actually going on?" So we were not very worried, but she didn't have any pain. Everything was just normal for her. But unbeknownst to us, she had already started labor pain.
Right.
But it was mild.
Yeah, so
She was just normal. She was just doing
contract
her normal
doesn't.
thing. So on the fateful day that she was going to go into actual labor, she went to meet my sister-in-law, who happened to be a midwife. So it was public transport, Lagos Road.
Oh wow, yeah, that's quite a combination.
That's not the best combination for my
At all.
So I think that fast tracked our labor pain and all that. So I think she noticed it, then contacted her sister ahead. So she just told her, okay, instead of you coming to the house, just direct to a private hospital that's close by. So I called my sister-in-law. I've been calling my wife, she's not been picking. What's going on? You guys are getting me worried. Like, no, she's fine, she's just in labor.
She's just a little bit of labor, you know.
Okay, so what do you want me to do? Maybe you're on your way here. Yes.
Be coming now.
Be coming now and keep praying. Okay.
God.
I'm not used to that kind of life, bro. Started praying and then we went on and on. Then I got there, directed me till I got there. Then when I got there, I first went to the house. They say I should eat. I've not had anything. The food turned stone.
I can imagine.
I don't joke with food.
But that day,
that food was strong.
But did you plan to be there?
One thing that I've always prayed for is that I want to witness all of my births. If I'm still having more, I want to witness all of them.
But you have to, right?
I have to.
You still want some?
Yeah.
You want to have more?
We are still considering.
Did you plan to be there?
Oh, I was there. I was there through all the 14 of them.
No, I mean like at the
pregnancy.
delivery.
Childbirth.
Yeah.
Yes, I was there.
Did you plan to? Was that the plan
Well, that was the plan.
Okay.
My wife wanted me to be there to support her, but even though I was sent out to go get something for the baby, because I understand that it's not from the birth exactly that the woman starts to initiate breastfeeding. So they asked me to go get the formula that the baby is going to take before she starts to lactate. So in the period when I stepped out, she moved from, I think, 6 cm, from 2 cm to almost 10 cm. Wow. She dilated, it was so fast. So she started calling. I was with her. She had vomited, I had prayed for her. We had been holding hands. She said, okay, I think you should go do what the nurses said you should do. So, okay, babe, just hang on for me, okay? I'll be back now. As I just stepped out, it moved from, I think it's 2 cm. I'm not very sure of the diameter now, but it just moved from that to
ready to go.
And then she was still holding back and saying,
he has
to come back. Please
come out.
And my friend, who was the doctor in charge, was like, I know that Bros is going to be angry if I move, but we need to move.
Yeah.
So the moment her friend, who was standing in for me, called me, he said, Collins, I know what I'm going to tell you is going to make you start to run down here, but please take your time. My wife said, did you just tell my husband that he's coming? He's coming back. I drove crazy to the hospital. I was just on my way trying to, because I felt, a part of me felt she may not be able to have the strength
to push through.
Because she said she needs me in the room.
Yeah.
So the moment I came in was just when the baby was coming out.
Wow.
And her eyes locked. I and the boy's eyes locked. And I'm like, I felt I had an out of body experience.
Yeah, I know that.
It felt like I was looking at myself being born. So the moment I walked in, she just started calling out for me, and wow, it was a very humbling experience.
Yeah.
In fact, I think any man who sees that thing will pray that all women go to heaven.
Yeah, I agree.
I
agree.
honestly
I
don't
agree.
know how.
No, if it was up to us, the entire human race would have been out by now. Like, because me, I'm not doing that thing.
No, yeah,
a
it's
very
it's
humbling
an humbling experience. That's very
It was
amazing.
very humbling. I carried him with all the. They said, let's wipe him. I said, no, let
it's
me hold
okay.
this guy.
Yeah.
He was just, his eyes were all wide open and he was looking and said, dude, have your son. I just held him and prayed for him and he just kept quiet. The moment I held him, he just stopped crying. I said, there's a bond here.
Yeah.
But as I was holding my son, I was still looking at my wife that was, she was
Tired.
She was tired.
Okay, so well, from the beginning, we had a conversation, Yoho and I. She was like, she didn't want to have a vaginal birth. She didn't want to take the chance of, maybe getting tired and all of that because we had heard stories. So she was like, I ain't doing that. So we had a plan. If we're going to do a vaginal birth, it was supposed to arrive, I think, on the 25th or so of July. And so the doctor advised us to, scale it back if we're going to do C-section, scale it back by a week or so. And then we're like, okay, cool. That's the plan, right? My guy showed up, basically she started having contractions at night. And we thought it was just Braxton Hicks because, and the thing is, sometimes I forget that my wife has a high threshold for pain. And she did tell me, say, my threshold for pain is high, right? So sometimes if I tell you I have a slight headache, I might be under, playing it. It might be worse. So through the night, she was having contractions and everything. In the morning, she was like, you know what, I'm fine, blah, blah. I went to work. And then my sister-in-law calls me. No, so I told the driver, to take her to the hospital just in case, let's just go and do a check. Called the doctor. The doctor said, yeah, let her come in. I'll take a look. I got to work, so that I missed some calls from my sister-in-law. I called her. I was like, baby girl, what's going on? She's like, hold on, talk to your wife. And then she's like, hi, baby, I'm in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. And doctor says that you should be on standby. I might need to give verbal consent. I'm like, consent for what?
Serious, man.
Long story short, my son was on the way. So the doctor was like, if we do not do this thing now, you're going to go into labor and then we cannot, do a C-section. So give consent, and I left the office, the studio, and started rushing to the hospital. Tell me why this boy, first of all, he came like 2 weeks earlier than planned, and then he couldn't even give me 5 minutes to just, for the car to stop so that I can come out and come upstairs. And as soon as we parked, before I got out of the car, my phone rang, it was my sister-in-law, and I was like, hello, she was like, congratulations, listen, and then I heard him screaming, in the background. So for me, I walked in, and because of course then it was the height of lockdown and everything. So they are done. You have to register. They have to check your temperature. Do all that. You now do a scrub. You now do all that before they let you into to the floor where wards are. By the time I got there, it was already like 15 or 20 minutes after he had arrived. So by the time I got into the private ward, he was already swaddled and everything in a cot beside her bed. He was asleep, and she was there. Here's the crazy thing. I walked in. I didn't even remember, for some reason, I was just all about her.
Yes.
So I just went straight to her.
I remember.
And I'm like, are you okay? How are you? Blah, blah, blah. And then the nurse was like, Daddy, come and carry. I'm like, oh, that's true. And then she just shaking her head at me like, this guy, carry your son. And I went and I was just staring at him. He was asleep. It was until later that night, because he was born at about 1 in the afternoon. It was until later that night, after I'd gone around, done some things, talked to a few people, the calls started coming in. It was later that night when everything had sort of settled down a little, and then she was asleep, I was seated, he was in the cot, and then he started to wiggle a little. And I was like, okay, instead of waking up, let me just pick him up for the first time. So I picked him up, his eyes were still closed, and then I held him, right? And I was just rocking him, and then his eyes just opened, he just looked directly at me. And our eyes just locked, and I just started crying, like tears. And then she just said, are you crying? And because I thought she was sleeping, I was like, no, I'm not crying, no. And she teases me about it to this day. it was such an intense feeling. I know people tell you that, oh, at that age, you know, it's his first day, he really can't see you.
Yeah.
That boy saw me. Nothing anybody can tell me. He stared into my soul.
Yeah.
I felt it. It was intense.
Yeah.
So I can relate. You know, I was going to ask Ola what surprised him the most about it, but Oga, I'm sure that nothing surprises you anymore about actual labor, like, and delivery.
Of course. I had a lot of deliveries,
Yeah.
you know, with clients and all.
Yeah.
Surgeries, emergency, elective, planned, normal labor,
Yeah.
normal spontaneous vaginal deliveries. The complicated ones, bridge, come with bum legs.
Sorry? Wait, they actually like.
Yeah, come with bum, you know, bridge delivery. You know, those are abnormal labors, you know.
Yeah. So sorry, my bad. What's the bridged delivery?
Yeah, when a baby comes with that, if anything that is not head,
Right.
Oh,
yes. Cephalic, you know, when you come with the head, that's the ideal way
Yeah.
for people to come out. Though there's still another one that if they're coming with the head, they can still be facing up, or called face to pupils. That one too is not so good because the widest part of their head is presenting. It could get hooked at the pelvic outlet and it won't come out.
Oh boy.
Yes, the vertex must be the one presenting this part of the head.
Right.
This part of the head. So it must present
Instead of
not baby coming
looking-
out this way.
yeah.
No, that's not good. And the baby is not too big, it could still come out easily. One, I've seen a lot of challenges when it comes to delivering the labor room. You know, even some of my matrons, my midwives, they used to complain, doctor want to take the deliveries by himself. Except I'm not just there.
Yeah.
Every delivery, so far I'm within that hospital, once it's time, come and call me. I just don't want any story. Oh, something shoulder, something this. No, I want to be there. At least if I'm not doing it, let me supervise and
Yeah.
all that. But when it comes to yours, it can be always very interesting. You know, I've heard Mr. Collins, yours, and him. I don't know. You guys are always very enjoying all these things.
Doctor, funny enough, my son was actually, he presented like this.
Yeah, they
I think
do
he was
that
coming
too.
out saying,
A thinking man. This guy. So it begins.
Says Niger.
Good.
Because it was actually supposed to be. I was like, ah, Daddy, so you guys tried all your best and then Niger finally. It was something like, so that's why
Oh boy.
when you said bedside manner,
Yeah.
so I think a whole lot needs to be done around that. I thank God that someone like Tolu the midwife is out there, at least on social media.
Yeah.
People can see and learn some things she's doing. A whole lot of thought needs to be put into the bedside manner for the woman who is pregnant, and even for the husband who is supporting the wife.
But me as a doctor, I always tell my staff that it can be very, very sweet when I see you coming from home. Even though you might have prepared for it, you have seen the last
Yeah,
time.
the scan, yeah.
You know, from the presentation where the woman is in labor, you could tell that, okay, this is where the head is, this is where the buttocks is, and all that. But of course, you don't want you to come with the leg. That's what foot bridge. That's a straight cesarean session. People cannot come with one leg. How are you going to deliver the second leg?
Yeah, that's true because
The second is going to hang inside. So if you try to force that baby, you're going to kill the baby because the second stage will be so prolonged.
Of course, paralysis.
To it be a paralysis, it's going to be a very difficult delivery. You might traumatize, you know, the limbs and all that. Baby will overstay in that situation. If eventually baby comes out, baby might have already gone already. You know, it's irrespective of the kind of resuscitation you might have to put in at that point in time. Baby might not be able to come back again. Footling bridge, absolute cesarean section. That is the truth.
Wow.
You know, you mentioned something about water bag breaking on its own. Water bag being broken by the medic, the nurses, the doctors. You are very correct that a lot of people out there don't really know most signs of labor. You know, when you ask women, what do you think are the signs of labor? They tell you, doctor, it's almost my water break. You know, I was smart when they said that. When the water breaks, it might not be so nice because the water could break early, even when the service is still close.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, we call it range of cycle. Even at time that you already due to fall into labor. The water is coming, but you're not falling into labor yet. And there is what we call water breaking before time. The baby is still premature and water has broken. We call it premature rupture of membrane. So it all depends on the stages that will determine how it will be managed.
Yeah.
Now, a woman is term. She's already 37 weeks plus, meaning she's due to give birth. Then she's seeing water. So her labor has started. Labor hasn't started. That is the truth. But she has to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Because the baby's already been exposed to the outside.
Exactly. So that's what I was going to say. So if the water breaks
Yes.
and she hasn't gone into labor,
Yeah.
how much time does the baby have to survive without the sac?
Okay, first of all, she's term and water breaks. It shouldn't be more than 24 hours. Before you know it, infection goes in.
Right, because that protects the child, the
Thank
infant.
Thank you. And don't forget that the medic might have to put their hand to check to know stuff like that. So that process, you introduce bacteria into the womb to meet the baby. Yes. So if you overstay, before you know, she will come that what we call.
It's uncomfortable. He's feeling it.
No, it's not even fetal stress. What we call choraminitis, infection of inside of the womb with the membrane.
Wow.
And that's very fatal.
Being introducing his finger, is it?
Yes, they will have no choice. Just try to make sure that process is sterile enough anyway. You clean, you're wearing.
Yeah, but I mean, no matter how much.
Something will still happen at that point in time. If a woman comes down with choraminitis, the first symptom she experiences is fever, serious temperature. You know something is
Because,
going on. And then
your system is fighting.
baby can't actually stand so long in there when there's choraminitis. Of course, people in that kind of situation too might have to go in for surgery at that point in time.
It's labor.
That reminds me, my own experience. So my wife was supposed to have a CS, and then when I walked into the hospital, the doctor was not looking professional. Apart from his,
And then they killed me.
apart from his appearance, and I don't mean to belittle him, but he had a limp in there. So the way he was walking, he just felt like someone that was like a quack doctor to me. So when he asked me,
Sorry.
so when he asked me to sign the consent and everything, I was just asking my wife's mom, like,
You
he said I
sure?
should sign it, but I hope you know that I'm not. So I signed it. So I think in 30 minutes, 1 hour, he was done. And he just called me, so everything was fine. What I want to ask is that, how did you guys bury the placenta of the baby? Because
Oh, for real? So that's a good question.
I couldn't find a place to bury, and I had to take it in. They just gave me the polythene. I had to go. I was looking. Some guys were smoking around. I had to go to the backyard. They said I could dig the ground like.
I was handed the placenta as well. I remember looking at it and I'm like, what is this thing in my long bag? He said, it's your son's placenta. I said, I hope this thing that you gave to me is not going to affect my baby, because I was very, very careful. I didn't understand how I'm supposed to be the one to handle this. Can't this be medical waste or something?
Yeah.
But they gave it to me in a polythene bag like you.
Yeah.
I remember I called my parents came visiting. They came to the hospital to see my wife because we were there for a while before we discharged. I said, Daddy, there's something they gave to me. He said, what is this? I said, it says placenta. I said, oh, are you serious? Okay, bring it. Now, I have to say this. I hope we know, or for the viewers, in some parts of the world, people actually blend the placenta.
Yeah, and consume it. Yeah.
The mothers consume it. I even saw one day.
I've seen that on YouTube. I was horrified.
Somebody made a placenta smoothie.
Yeah.
What? Really, I won't drink.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
With milk or what?
I don't know. And then I know someone on YouTube, someone actually cooked it, and
So, but Ibrahim, do you know the interesting thing? They said there's a reason why that is done, and somehow they have a way of tying it back to the ancient times. But most of the highest result, or the highest reason why people do this, is they say it creates a kind of bond with the mother and the child.
In medical profession, anything you remove from human body, let's say a fibroid, for instance, you operate somebody for fibroid or mectomy, all you brought out can either be for two things. Probably you're looking at the growth like, oh, this thing might look malignant like cancer or something. It might not really be, because fibroid could change to cancer in some percentages. You, depending on how you say it, you could request for an histology.
okay.
If you're not thinking from that angle, it's the property of the family. the husband to show the wife when she wakes up from the surgery. They could discard it the way they feel like to discard it. Now, when it comes to baby, this is a human being, and there's a lot of philosophy, hypothesis about placenta. Scientists could use it for stem cell
research
and all that. They could use to do many kind of researches out there. And also, don't forget that there's what we call, the spirituality of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Rituals.
Yeah.
Now, if you say the hospital should help you discard it, and the hospital is into some kind of businesses where they sell, maybe they do sell for whatever reasons. So it's always very, very important that no hospital should. In fact, you must give it to them. Let them do whatever they want to do with it.
But speaking from a very practical point of view, it is human tissue that is no longer part of the human body. Do you understand? So in my opinion, if I take it and dispose of it in a way that is, not harmful to the environment or whatever, that's fine. So which is probably why our parents used to just dig a hole and bury it, yeah? But we live in the suburbs and we live in urban areas where I for the life of me, I cannot think of a place that I can dig and bury something. Because everywhere either has concrete or asphalt or tar or something.
That's a very, very important.
So it's a serious conundrum.
Like, seriously, it's very confusing. Everybody just have their own opinion. In the long run, you have to make a decision and do something. Yes, that's the truth. But I still feel in the long run, it all depends on where you come from. When it still comes to placenta, where you come from.
So if you're watching this, yeah, please let us know. Just help us with this conversation, because obviously, all five of us do not have a final answer or a solution to this particular question. We do not know what the answer is. So if you know better, or you have access to people who know better in this part of the world, please let us know in the comments. We would really appreciate hearing from you. I feel like we've pretty much covered, for the amount of time that we have, we've pretty much covered the most important parts. I have cue cards because, I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. I don't remember everything. I think we've pretty much covered most of the conversation. Yay! Look at us. Whoop, whoop. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this particular conversation. If you haven't checked out the rest of it, you can just skip back on the playlist and see the rest of the conversations that we've had so far. We still have a few more conversations coming up, so thank you for joining us. See you next time. But let me tell you guys, and I know, none of you can tell me that it didn't happen to you. At some point, I started to feel sidelined. I started to feel like I was an afterthought.
I have to call my mom. That's it.
We need backup, man.
Hunger will kill you. You don't just come to Lagos and come and take care of me. I'm still your baby.
You're gonna be tested. Be patient.
Omugo, grandma came, so my mother-in-law was around. Both my sisters-in-law were around. We got a nanny. We had Ihoma and we had myself. So that's 6 adults who have careers, and we had only one Kion. And that boy showed all of us pepper.